Hi, my friends. How are you? What I'd like to talk to you about today is regarding an incident that happened in Dublin, but the wider implications of it. But let's just have the news report first, and we'll talk about it after that.
Witnesses to a bus crash in Dublin city centre today have described a traumatic scene. One person died after the bus Éireann vehicle mounted the pavement close to Talbot Street, hitting pedestrians. 3 people were taken to hospital, including the driver. Taoiseach Micheál Martin said his thoughts were with the bereaved and he praised emergency services.
The scene remained cordoned off as the investigation into what happened here and why goes on.
Right. Now, I'm sure you've seen on social media already that there was a non-national female, African female, driving that bus. Now, I'm just going to take these headphones off. There are an awful lot bigger implications to this, okay? Because, and you can find out yourself, you can look it up, you can Google it, you can do whatever you like. There's been a concerted effort in the last number of years in Ireland to recruit people from outside Ireland, to recruit Africans and people from other countries to take jobs from Irish people. Now, you might say, oh, you have no proof of that. I have proof of that. The government are paying €7,000 as an incentive to incentivise companies to hire foreign nationals over Irish people. Why do you think that half of the trucks you see now on the road are being driven by foreign nationals? Now, I don't mean foreign nationals. I'm not talking about Polish or Lithuanian or Latvian. I'm talking about people from Africa and South Africa who are driving buses and trucks in Ireland. Why do you think that is? How did we survive for the last 40 years in a country that was very, very successful during the Celtic Tiger years, but we didn't have to import cheap foreign labour? Now, there is a saying that when you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. And that's a fact. Irish people are not being given jobs in this country because they're being left behind, because the government has a concerted effort going on to replace the Irish population with people from the third world, from Africa, from India. Von der Leyen signed an agreement, as you all know, and I've spoke about this last week, with India, that is going to allow the guts of 250 million of them to flood into Europe. In the United States, Donald Trump has brought in a new law that anyone that doesn't have a green card or a residency permit to live in the United States of America is not having their CDL, which is their HGV license, renewed. And this is because these people are causing carnage. In Canada, they're causing carnage in America. And they're going to do the same thing here. Okay? There's a big recruitment drive, and I'll tell you what it's all about. It's not because they can't get, the haulage companies say we can't get drivers. We're going to need to bring in drivers from Africa. But first it was the Polish, then it was the Latvians and the Lithuanians, then it was the Romanians, then it was the Bulgarians. And when they became too dear, the haulage companies went cap in hand to the government, oh, we need to bring in South Africans because they're cheaper. What will be cheaper than them? What is the human cost of greed? What is the human cost of people trafficking? What is the human cost of the government destroying our country? Because that's what's going on here. The government are actively destroying our country. They're flooding Ireland with cheap foreign labour. And this yesterday was only one tip of the iceberg about what's to come, because all of the Indians, the Punjabis, who now have been refused driving licenses in Canada and in America, will now be flooding back to Europe, and they'll be walking in here, and there's a huge amount of fake documents floating around. How many Indians and Africans have been hired by the HSE as carers and as nursing assistants with fake documents that have gone on to either abuse or worse nursing home residents and people in hospitals. These people are coming in here and being allowed to walk in to jobs of responsibility, like driving a bus, like driving a truck, with absolutely no vetting, or very, very little vetting. And there's nothing said about it. Oh, you're a racist if you mention it, blah, 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 blah. I'm sick of listening to that bullshit, because that's all it is. It's absolute bullshit, and I'm not having any more of it. So from now on, I'm going to report exactly what's happening, and they can hide it as much as they like. I guarantee you, if there was an Irish bus driver driving that bus yesterday, his face would be up on the front of every newspaper and every social media outlet today. But the social media and the newspapers in Ireland and the social media are controlled by the likes of O'Brien. And O'Brien is a globalist capitalist who's all for the Agenda 2030, which is flooding Europe and flooding Ireland with cheap labour. Why? Because it suits him. What percentage of white people are now working in Google headquarters? Look it up. I'm going to keep reporting on this. I'm sick of it, and I'm not having any more of it. Have a good Friday.